Although Luton Town put up a good fight in the Premier League, they were unfortunately relegated back down to the Championship. And so I'm going to take over as their new manager. But as you know, this isn't going to be an easy job for me because of the challenge. First off, we have 10 seasons to win the Premier League. Not to mention, we are also aiming to win 3 domestic cup trophies. And possibly the hardest task of them all, we need to win any of the 3 European trophies. A tough ask when you consider the current Luton Town squad. So it's up to me to build a Luton side capable of winning all of these challenges, starting off in the Championship. It became apparent really early that financially this is going to be tough as well, with only 10% of any player sales going back into my transfer budget. And that's something that the board were not willing to budge on either, despite requesting and trying to persuade them myself. I do have some kind of budget already, but it's not the players coming in that I'm worried about. Realistically, we have a good enough team to get back into the Premier League because we've only just been relegated. I'm more concerned about getting wages off the books for when we eventually do go back up, and selling players that way. If we're not getting a percentage from that, then we're going to struggle in season 2 or 3 when we eventually get promoted. And so the only player I'm bringing in is a loan signing and a striker that will give us squad depth up front and a lot of pace as well. Tactically, I've landed in a 4-4-2 with just a defensive midfielder and an attacking one. That attacking one usually is going to be Ross Barkley, who's going to be exceptional for us this season. But the 2 strikers that we've got in Adebayo and our loan signing Nankam, I actually think are the 2 best for us to start because of the pace and strength that Nankam has, not to mention his 60 in aggression. He is a perfect pressing forward, and Adebayo is just a really good advanced forward with a lot of pace and strength that can finish a shot off. Mengi is another player I want to give a lot of game time to because he's young, he's only 22, he has a good potential for when we get back into the Premier League to be a lot better. But as you can see, picking without restriction, they don't necessarily go into our starting 11. However, at the start of the season, when I've been playing them every single game, it has definitely been working out, and we've been putting in some fantastic results that, to be honest, if we continue, will easily see us sail through back into the Premier League, and that's just what we want. So let's simulate season 1 with Luton Town in the Championship and see if we can bounce back into the top flight. Surprisingly, in this first season, despite us being in the Championship, we actually did really well in the domestic cups. Part of our challenge, of course, is to win 3, and we were only eliminated in the 4th round by Newcastle, who are a very good Premier League side, on penalties. And in the FA Cup, we did even better. We got past Spennymoor 7-1, past Ipswich Town 3-1, Brentford on penalties 2-2 after 90 minutes, and only losing to Tottenham in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup 2-1. Although our fantastic start in the Premier League did take a bit of a bump going into October and November, we continue to be quite consistent, and we all know the Sky Bet Championship is an unforgiving one, but you can still get away with a lot of losses, which we definitely took. However, we also did manage to win the league, only by 2 points ahead of Southampton, but Southampton and Norwich go into the Premier League alongside us. We were also right to lock in the likes of Adebayo and Nankam because both of them had fantastic goal contributions, getting 54 goals between them, with Adebayo absolutely being a wonderful striker for us this year, and Mengi has definitely developed and put in some good performances across the season. The board have given us a nice healthy budget that we can even alter if we need it more or less in the transfers or the wages, and I have already started bringing in some players who can help us out on the wings. Now, the rest of it, in financially, we've gone up to 25% of transfer revenue, but that still isn't going to help much if we decide to sell a player. 25% is nothing. Now, this summer was really difficult. Despite us having a bit of budget, I still needed to find quite a lot of players. And I started off with Jordan Larsson. He is the son of Henrik Larsson, and just like his dad, he's a decent striker. He's left-footed with a bit of pace, and we picked him up for £2.2 million from FC Copenhagen. Arguably our best signing of the window, though, was Stanis Pedrola. He is a Spanish winger, predominantly on the left-hand side. They were going to train to play more as a left midfielder, but he comes in as possibly our best player. He's fantastic. Physicals are great. We got him for £6 million from Sampdoria. He was at Barcelona's academy for a few seasons, so we know he's got the talent, and last season he even got 10 goals for Sampdoria. Right back was a position that I felt like we really needed to improve because this 4-4-2 relies on really good right backs, attacking ones, and Elias Jalur is very similar to the type of player that I really wanted, United, and he also came from FC Copenhagen, just like Jordan Larson. £11.75 million is kind of steep for the money that we were given for a right back, but I think the potential of selling him on for more or just having him for the remainder of our 10 seasons could be worth it. But the most important sign I wanted to bring in was a good centre-back, and Martin Vitic is the centre-back that I felt like we really needed. He's only 22 as well, from Czech Republic. He has great physical attributes, he's 6'4", good leadership attributes too, and we picked him up for just £7 million from Sparta Prague. That is a bargain. Our final signing that we made was Jota Silva, who turns out was a free transfer after leaving his club. He's 26 years of age. He gives us a lot of squad depth up front and is kind of Nankam's replacement. We haven't really brought one in yet, and he is very similar to him in the standard of that he has good aggression, good work rate, so for a pressing forward, he suits the mould, and he's really good at that in our squad compared to the rest of our team too. So he comes in on a free transfer. He was playing in Portugal before, hasn't hit the ground running just yet, but hopefully that can change as the season goes on. But we're trying to keep things rather familiar in terms of our tactic going into this season. Despite being in the Premier League, it's a very attacking tactic, but I felt like if we went a little bit more recluse and invited the pressure on, we'd be absolutely murdered. This team is not good enough for that. We're trying to rely on our strength, and that, unfortunately for us, is a lot in the attack and less in defense. Vitic and Mengi at the centre-back option. I'm going to lock in Mengi once again throughout the season. This team could be good enough to keep us up, but we're going to have a lot of luck. And so far, we haven't exactly got a lot of the luck that we needed. We picked up one good win, which was at home to, obviously, the other newly promoted side in Southampton, but we got absolutely battered by Everton and absolutely battered by Chelsea. So I think we need to forget about the challenges in terms of winning domestic cups this season, and we need to focus on just surviving in the Premier League. So let's hope our performances improve now we are back in the top flight so we can stay there. And as we got to January, the board have given us a little bit more money and topped up our budget for the rest of the season. But they also accepted a £28 million offer for Ogbene, despite us still only getting 25% of whatever came in, and he had a cracking start for us this season. So it was tough to replace him, and I brought in Amad Diallo from Manchester United for just 12 million. That unfortunately though didn't leave us with much left, and we spent most of it on Papi Guy for give us extra legs in the midfield. But surprisingly, by the end of January, we were holding our own in mid-table. The Cups were definitely not a priority for me this season, and we were even knocked out the third round by Bournemouth 2-0. However, in the FA Cup, we went on an amazing run, getting through the rounds comfortably until we got revenge on Bournemouth, followed by Spurs, and even knocking Wolves out in the semi-finals on penalties to give us a showdown with Manchester United in the final. And in the Premier League, we easily survived and even kept our top half finish, ending in 9th place. But could we win our first out of 3 domestic cup trophies with this FA Cup final to play? Well, we couldn't have asked for a better start because an own goal gave us the lead in the first half, and the other side of half time, we actually doubled it at Wembley. However, Manchester United came back and 15 minutes later pulled a goal back through Mason Mount. And with the clock ticking down, a free kick was played back and Anthony was found in the box to equalise, sending the game to extra time. And it seemed our legs were exhausted, and down to 10 men after a second yellow card, Anthony Martial took advantage and won the FA Cup for Manchester United. I am absolutely gutted that we couldn't get our hands this early on onto one of the 3 domestic cup trophies that we needed for the challenge, but I still think this is an incredible season that we can be really proud of, because my aim was just to survive, and as you can see, we never dropped really into any kind of relegation scrap. But has the board decided to back us after a great season? Well, we got £16 million going into next season, and still only 25% of the revenue. So it's hard to determine where we're going to prioritise that £20 million roughly budget that we've got, because Jordan Larson got 19 goals, Adebayo got 14, Ross Barkley is still having a great season, but he's like 32 now. We've got some quality players, it's just what do we do to improve what we've done this season? After coming so close to winning a domestic cup in season 2, I'm reminded of how big of a task this is going to be to win the Premier League or even lift a European trophy with Luton. Especially because I managed to get them to raise the transfer revenue again, but only to 40%. Meaning, annoyingly, I still only got less than half the money when I sold Ryan Giles to Saudi Arabia for £32.5 million. And yet the transfers in I still think were very good. I got in 2 left backs in Maxime de Kuiper and Ian Matson, both on free transfers. I also brought in the French goalkeeper Alban Lafont. He joins us from Nantes for £7.25 million. But the player I spent the most money on is Dennis Hussein Basic from Germany. He has played pretty much anywhere on the park, but mainly as a centre midfielder. And this is my long-term Ross Barkley replacement. Gets forward whenever possible. Great physical attributes, including teamwork, work rates, the stamina, the natural fitness. He cost me £16.5 million. It was the majority of my budget. But I do think in the long run, he's going to be a great buy. We are sticking with the 4-4-2. However, I have slightly altered it. We've now got a ball-winning midfielder, a box-to-box, but a target forward up front. Still with the wingers, still with the attacking wing backs. This could be slightly different in the fact that we won't be looking to press from the front, but maybe have more of a figure up there with Adebayo, but let's see how it goes. And I made those changes because the start of our season was absolutely dreadful with the tactic we used last year. Let's hope this season improves then and we manage to get somewhat close to the success that we had last season. Well, in the Carabao Cup, we had a nice easy run really, going all the way through to the quarter-final, where unfortunately we then faced Brentford, who knocked us out 2-1. In the FA Cup, despite winning 5-0 in the 3rd round, the 4th round was as far as we went, as we were battered by Nottingham Forest 3-0. However, the most important competition was the Premier League, and despite us having a terrible start, we managed to kind of salvage our season into that mid-table slot where we were last year, and again finished in 9th place, 54 points, 4 points off of Brentford, who are above us, just outside of those European spots. We could really do with qualifying for them very soon. The goals in our team was very much spread out, which some would say is good, but I'm kind of worried that we don't necessarily have an out-and-out goal scorer. Jota Silva picked up 14 goals, which is the most across the season, despite coming off the bench 29 times and only starting 12 games. That's why I'm slightly worried. Jordan Larson got 13 with the most starts. Carlton Morris again come off the bench and got 12. Adebayo's actually dropped down to 10 goals in 25 games, maybe possibly because we moved into that target forward. But Amad Diallo and Pedrola on the wings, they've been fantastic. 10 goals and 12 assists from Amad Diallo, 9 goals and 14 assists from Pedrola. The board have given us a lovely budget though of £51 million. However, on the finances, still only 40% of the transfer revenues. I'm going to try and have to ask them to increase that once again. The request was accepted, however, it only raised it to 55%, but at least we are over halfway. Adebayo left the club. He is 29 years of age now and he's gone to Norwich for 20 million, which is also where the only other player that we sold went to in Mengi, but for just 13.5 million after a disappointing couple of seasons for us. And to replace him at the back, we have the French defender Esteve joining us for £19 million from Montpellier. But it doesn't stop there because the midfield gets an upgrade too, with Ryan Gravenberch joining from Liverpool. Up front, we put our faith in a youngster, signing Romeo Benny, who scored 16 goals last season in the Swiss League for Basel. And finally, on deadline day, we signed Hansen Aron as a squad player from Werder Bremen. So after a stagnating last season, we changed to a 4-4-2 and added Libero, a pressing forward, and a change in midfield role too with the Mazzala. So let's just hope that these are the changes that we need to take Luton to the next level. And by the way guys, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure you press that subscribe button because soon even my dad's taken on certain clubs, just like 10 years with Birmingham City. That's coming up soon. So it's been 4 seasons and we're yet to have a domestic trophy, and that still continues. We beat West Brom in the 3rd round. 4th round we even knocked out Liverpool on penalties. Quarter-finals we got past Burnley 6-2. But in the semi-finals, we lost to Norwich, who just signed 2 of our players. And in the FA Cup, it was even worse. We couldn't even get past Southampton in the 3rd round. That's the first round that we actually enter, and we went to a replay. But our season has been saved because we finished in 8th place, meaning we get qualification for the Europa Conference League next season. And I don't have to tell you that that is a huge opportunity to bring a trophy to Luton Town. We won 17 games, losing 16, so we're still not quite where I'd want to be. But that is a huge performance. Pedrola had a very good average rating, coming off the back of the fact that he scored 15 goals and got 20 assists. This definitely worked out in terms of our results. Goals-wise, we're still spread out across the board, but the development from Diallo especially and Pedrola has been what's carried this team to the success that we just had this season. However, a slight drop in our transfer budget from last year down to 37 million, and we've still only got 55% of the transfer revenue made, so once again, we need to ask to see if they can increase that for season number 5. Once again, our request was accepted, but only raised slightly to 70%. And only one player left the club, with that being Jota Silva, who moved to Saudi Arabia for £25 million. But we spent the money very well, bringing in Stefan Bajcetic from Liverpool for the same price. David Zimmer was out of contract but stayed at his club, meaning we had to pay a very small compensation fee to bring him in. One of the things that I have been working on recently, though, is the staff, and especially the recruitment team. And this summer is definitely where that work paid off, because it allowed us to find some fantastic new wonder kids, including Hajduk that we found, who's Romanian midfielder, a very good player already, and he's just 18 years of age, and he cost £2.1 million. Also, since the Pentagon Challenge, I cannot help but have a look in Japan, and Akira Shibasaki is unbelievable. This guy plays as either an advanced forward or as a shadow striker, and he's perfect for the roles. He's only 19 years of age as well. What finishing and dribbling ability that he has, and he cost me £5 million. 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 man of the matches in just 5 appearances. Now, outside of those, there were some real players that we signed, like Mitska, who is just a backup goalkeeper for £2.4 million. Batterino, you've probably heard of, a really good centre attacking midfielder or left winger that we've brought in from Croatia on a free transfer from Zagreb. And finally, John Kennedy, who is a Fluminense striker, Brazilian, 26 years of age, good enough, I think. Can play quite a lot of different roles. So far, he hasn't exactly hit the ground running, and we did spend £15 million on him. But I still think it's worth it. We are going to keep the 4-4-2 that we were rocking with last season with like the libero, the Mazzala, and the pressing forward. But I'm definitely sticking Shibasaki in as a player that is going to be nailed on every single game, because I want to see what happens when this guy gets a lot of game time. The development, I'm hoping, could be huge, and he could be either cashed in for a lot of money or become our best player for the next 5 to 6 seasons. So with our hopes pinned on these new signings, what will Season 5 bring us? Because this season gives us our first opportunity at a European trophy. But of course, we're still obviously chasing some domestic cups, and we've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup at the quarter-final stage on penalties by Leeds. Oh, and we were so close to getting to another final when Liverpool defeated us at Wembley Stadium in the semi-final 4-2. They went on to face Manchester City, who beat them 3-1 in the final. But in the Europa Conference League, we smashed through the league phase, only losing 1 game to Montpellier and picking up 5 wins in total, which meant we go straight into the round of 16, where we knocked out Vålerenga 3-1, into the quarter-final, where we defeated Rijeka 7-2. This could be it, because the semi-final, we defeated Atalanta to go into the final, where we play AZ Alkmaar. So can the Dutch side stop our 4-4-2 attacking tactics as we name a fully strengthened side? In a historic night as Luton Town reached their first European final. And we couldn't have dreamt for a better start as Romeo Benny scored in the first minute of the match off of Shibasaki's assist. And the Japanese striker stole the show on this night as he added a goal of his own on the 23rd minute, followed by his second and our third on the 28th. Second half, and Hajduk pinched a fourth from the corner, and AZ Alkmaar were blown away and could only pick up 1 goal in response. And that is the first challenge of the takeover complete, as Luton Town lift the European trophy in the 5th season. But we've got a lot to do if we want to complete the other challenges, especially considering we only finished down in 10th place in the Premier League. An annoying start to the summer as we lost Esteve to Saudi Arabia for £45 million after 2 really good seasons for us. Pedrola also left for Fulham for the same price. Romeo Benny went to Aston Villa for £20 million too. So to replace and improve those positions lost, we start off with Boulanger from Belgium, who only cost us £17 million. That was very cheap considering how much we paid for English centre-back Ashley Phillips, which was £55 million from Brighton. We needed another keeper, and Slonina cost us just £6 million. Up front though, a 21-year-old striker caught my eye called Juanjo Ortega, who we bought from Sevilla. We also picked up Grant Gallagher from Millwall and loaned him straight back for them for the rest of the season. A left back came in from Brazil for £10 million called Gabriel. And Edwin Poku is a rotation option that we signed for just £5 million from Gladbach. And finally, Hiroshi Makino from Japan, who I found at Kyoto Sanya, who I loaned back to them for the rest of the season. After spending all that though, the board have reduced our transfer revenue back down to 50% from 70%. With the more attacking options coming in, I decided to try a 4-3-3 with a right winger just to see how it played out this season. So let's get cracking and hopefully we can win a domestic cup this season. It is not looking good, guys, for the domestic cups because it's a quarter-final exit against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, which is also only as far as we got in the FA Cup, as Manchester United knocked us out 2-1. However, we have just one game to potentially get a Champions League spot in the Premier League, and we have already reached the Europa League final. We might not be doing very well in the domestic cups, but somehow we just blitzed through the Europa League, winning 7 games out of 8, completely dominating the league phase, going straight into the round of 16, knocking out Everton, quarterfinals knocking out Rennes, and you know how much I already hate them, and semi-final we picked up a win against Tottenham, who of course topped the league phase, and now we've got Roma in the final. And what a final it was. We went into extra time, beating Roma 6-4. It was 4-4 after 90 minutes, which is already impressive. And then Amad Diallo and John Kennedy both scored, and we lift another European trophy. Of course, getting us right into the Champions League, but we did finish in 5th place anyway, which probably would have given us a Champions League spot either way. That's progress, but we just need to either win that and start picking up some domestic cups, or we're going to fail this challenge. It's another £34 million in the transfer budget for next season, but with the only £11 million in the overall balance, I very much doubt they're going to give us much extra on top of the 50% of transfer revenue made. The board were not budging, and they rejected the transfer revenue increase request. So this summer, we only sold a couple of players because of this, and that was just to barely fund the players that we were bringing in. With the first being a 21-year-old Serbian goalkeeper who looks ready for the first team football already, and who we've only picked up for just £10 million. Also, we signed an Argentinian midfielder who has a lot of promise that we got from River Plate for £15 million. And finally, an upgrade in the pressing forward role with a young striker from Malaga for £9 million who scored 20 goals last season. Already, he's been enjoying his football here, linking up with the rest of the strike force as we rock the 4-3-3 again. But this 7th season is an important one for the challenge, because we are still yet to win a single domestic cup out of the 3 that we need. And yet the first thing that we come to see is that we had an incredible season in the Premier League, finishing in 2nd place. Now, we were somewhat off top position Man City, who actually I seen replaced their manager, putting Marco Rose, taking Carlo Ancelotti's job, but they are still going to be really difficult to chase when Erling Haaland is scoring 36 goals in a single season. Which is why it's not ideal when you actually come up against them in the cups, because they knocked us out of the Carabao Cup in the 4th round. Actually, they smashed us 6-1. Oh no, it's a horrendous defeat in the FA Cup though. Losing to Southampton, who are still in the Championship at this point, 5-3 in just the 4th round. We cannot win a domestic cup. Our first season in the Champions League, though, went really well. We only lost 1 of the league phase games, which was against Lyon. We drew 2 games against Leipzig and Porto and won 5, including beating Arsenal. And we had a 12-1 win against Sturm Graz. 12-1. Then, unfortunately, we skipped the knockout playoff round, go straight into the round of 16, and we're eliminated on penalties to Porto after a 4-4 aggregate score. However, technically, we did actually win the UEFA Super Cup, which is a European trophy. We beat Real Madrid 2-5 in that, which is fantastic. Luton Town beating Real Madrid. So overall, it's actually a really good season. Finishing 2nd behind Manchester City in the Premier League is huge progress. We just need to win a domestic trophy. However, squad-wise, it's looking great. 25 goals from Luis Miguel Rivera, who has developed into a monster in just 1 season. That is absolutely unbelievable. The rest of the side, I'm hoping, start scoring a little bit more goals. I mean, Shibisaki has done well in his development, but that's only 15 goals isn't enough in my opinion. Yeah, the rest of it, there's a lot of wanted in there, and we might actually be interested in selling players this summer, because although we only have a £17 million transfer budget, we've got 85% of the transfer revenue, which is easily the highest that we have had so far. So the Champions League campaign must have helped us in some ways. We used the summer to sell some of the names at their peak price, such as Gravenberch, who went to Saudi Arabia for £60 million, now aged 29. I was shocked the most, however, that we managed to get nearly £40 million for Hansen Aaron, who barely played much last season. So I went about finding players such as Stojakovic, who could help us from coming off the bench to score some goals. But there's bargains too, such as Michael Bolton, who's a phenomenal centre midfielder who cost us just £16 million from West Brom. Ramses Lima offers support for Matson at left back for just £5 million, and Nestor Sanchez is the final signing we made to offer up a bit of an option off the bench for that right midfield spot. Squad depth is going to be important if we want to win the Premier League and 3 domestic trophies in the next 3 seasons. So let's hope we have some longevity in those cup competitions this season, in season number 8. While starting off in the Champions League, we didn't do too bad really. We finished in 11th place in that league phase, 5 wins and some unbelievable wins too, as an 8-0 in there, and only 3 losses against teams that you kind of would expect us to lose against, which meant we went into the knockout playoff round where we eliminated Dortmund 3-1 on aggregate, so another good result there. Into the round of 16, which was as far as we got, unfortunately losing to Atletico Madrid, who also beat us in the league phase. But of course, not very good in the Carabao Cup. A 2-1 loss to Arsenal in that quarter-final. We did alright, we were knocking out teams that we should be knocking out on the way, until we got to a team which is slightly better than us, and they went on into the final and actually went on to win the whole competition, beating Tottenham in that final at Wembley. In the FA Cup though, it's even worse. 3rd round we go through 4-0, but the 4th round we lose to Leeds United 4-1. Meaning we've got 2 seasons now to win 3 cup competitions. However, believe it or not, this tactic somehow took Luton Town to become Premier League winners. It's the part of the challenge I wasn't really aiming for, but we managed to do it in season number 8. Luton Town won the Premier League by 4 points above Manchester City. We lost 6 games, twice against Manchester City. We drew 6 games, but we managed to win 26 of them. We didn't even have a top scorer in there. We had Shibasaki, who was high for the average rating. We had good clean sheets. It just all seemed to come together really well. It's just the cup competitions that we're really struggling in. But that part of the challenge is complete. That's right, winning the Premier League within 10 seasons is a challenge we can tick off. Now, goals-wise, 22 goals from each Ortega and Rivera, and Ortega's development has been absolutely incredible. He's unhappy because he wants a new contract. Gonna give him that. But transfer budget-wise, we've got roughly £35 billion with a very low wage budget. However, 85% transfer revenue is made available, so if we do sell a player, we can put it straight back into the budget. So the loans, the debts are starting to accumulate to the point where we might actually better clear that in the next couple of seasons. Dennis Hussein Basic is the first player we sold, and he gave us a good £30 million back into the transfer budget. However, most of this season's spending was built off the back of Manchester United activating Hajduk's release clause of £113 million. And that's a transfer I was really gutted that happened. I really wanted to keep Hajduk and hopefully build a team around him, because he's probably the best right back in the world. So to replace him, I bought the best right back I could persuade to come to Luton Town, and he cost me £74 million from Nantes in the French league. This season, I've decided to go back to a 4-4-2 variation, and for that, we need left wingers again, so I bought Chelsea's Kendry Payet for £50 million. Now, I normally wouldn't change a Premier League winning tactic with Luton Town. However, that 4-3-3 does pick up a couple of freak results where you lose games, and you just can't afford to do that if you're looking to win a domestic cup. We need something that's a little bit more solid, and the 4-4-2 offers us that. So it's make or break for the whole challenge. We need to win a cup. But it isn't going to be the FA Cup, because Tottenham Hotspur have knocked us out in just the 4th round. We can't even get close to the semi-finals in this one at all. However, we've got to the final of the Carabao Cup. It's Chelsea who face us in that final, and if we don't beat them, we fail the whole challenge. We took the lead through a corner, however we were pegged back immediately at Wembley from Julian Alvarez just a minute later, but we kept going and scored a wonderful team goal and we win the Carabao Cup. Thank God we managed to pick up that win because that is our first domestic cup that we can add to our trophy cabinet, but we need 3 of them and there's only 2 competitions left next season. Now in the Premier League, we unfortunately went all the way down to 5th place after being champions last year and 10 points behind leaders Manchester City. Ortega did win the Golden Boot this year, which is great, but the Champions League is what I'm most impressed with, and we were so close to getting to the final because Manchester United knocked us out 9-7 on aggregate after we won the first leg to go on to lose to Barcelona in the final. Goals-wise, this was much better as well, with both Ortega and Rivera getting 30 or above, and a good amount of assists too, with the backups still getting a good amount of goals as well. Really happy with that. I locked in Michael Bowen to play centre midfield, and it definitely paid off. He did really well this season. Wants a new contract, he's gonna get it. And transfer budget wise, we've got roughly £60 million, a high wage budget if we want to change it around a little bit. And financially, we're doing all right. Still 85% of transfer revenue. Debts are going up though, so probably won't clear that. I ain't too worried though, as we finally got one of the 3 domestic cups won before the final season. There were bigger problems for Liverpool as they went into administration and have been deducted points for this upcoming 10th season. Transfer-wise, Stojakovic kicked off that he wanted some more game time and he decided to leave and we sold him for 30 million. Gabriel also didn't see much game time in the last 2 years and he left for 23 million. A lot of players have been leaving on a free transfer behind the scenes, but Pinyev has just joined us for free. And we only spent money on 1 player, and that was Martin Antonioli from Liverpool, as the Argentinian centre-back cost us close to £100 million. And he does go into this team, however we are kind of changing around some of the roles. We put in a half-back in, we've put Boulanga on a libero on support because look at him, he's unbelievable. And now I think we put up a side here which attacking-wise we're going to be devastating, but Bajcetic and Boulanga switching over defensively could be great. So the 10th and final season is a massively important one. Let's see what happens. Well, it's another Carabao Cup final and such a huge opportunity to win it because Norwich have got into the final. They're in the Premier League, but I feel like this is kind of a gimme for us. We've knocked out the likes of Arsenal en route and Manchester City, who we beat 6-0. We should definitely be favourites to beat Norwich. I mean, I definitely underestimated them a little bit, but we did pick up the trophy after extra time. A 2-0 result, and this is what I mean about this tactic. Defensively, we were solid. The fact that we scored 6 against Man City without even conceding, and they won the league recently, I just was very confident. I just hoping that we did it a little bit more comfortably than 2-0 after extra time. Nonetheless, it's a 2nd out of 3 domestic cup wins to complete the challenge, with the FA Cup being the only chance remaining. And right now, we're in the semi-final. We've got to defeat Chelsea to go on to face one of the Manchester teams. And we did it! We defeated Chelsea 3-0. I told you this team is so good defensively now. But the final, anything can happen. We've got to play Manchester United. Because after already winning the Premier League and a European trophy, we cannot afford to lose. As we are just so close to completing this challenge, and with some recognisable faces, including the £113 million right back Hajduk in Manchester United's side, they stand in our way of completing this 10-year challenge with Luton Town. After a tight half hour, the deadlock was finally broken when Hugo Pearce scored from the inside left position. It stayed 1-0 till half-time, but 5 minutes after the break, it was that guy Pearce and Manchester United who scored a second. We weren't out of it just yet though, and Bajcetic scored a beautiful volley to make it 2-1. But we failed to capitalise, and United carved us open one last time for Rasmus Højlund to score in the 91st minute. And just like that, our 10-year challenge with Luton Town is ultimately a failure in terms of what we set out to do, but I think we built a fantastic team either way, which you can take a look at for yourself on the channel membership page or on the Patreon as the save file goes up there. And if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe for more. This season was a bad one for both Burnley and Sheffield United. Neither side really put up a fight to survive against relegation. And while Sheffield United did try and change their manager mid-season, Burnley didn't, and somehow he's landed the Bayern Munich job now. So I'm going to take over Burnley in the Championship, while my dad is going to become the Sheffield Sheffield United manager, as we aim to rebuild them for 5 seasons. You were never in the relegation zone.
To the last game of the season.
Until you lost the last game of the season.
Oh dear.
A reminder of the points tally is as follows. You gain 1 point for a higher league finish, 1 point for a victory over each other, 1 point for eliminating each other from a cup competition, 3 points for a domestic cup win, 4 points for a domestic league win, 5 points for a Europa/Europa Conference win, and 7 points for the Champions League win.
Dad, today we're taking on the 2 relegated sides that are not Luton Town.
Yeah, well, we've done a Luton one, haven't we? So
yeah, so I think I might actually attack a Luton Town 10-year takeover myself, to be fair.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, we've got Dad's Glory Hunter, which is probably going to come out either this week or definitely next week. And Dad's done a Birmingham takeover of 10 seasons, and I gave him a few challenges. So that will come out a couple of weeks after that. So there's lots of things to come out. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out.
I'm trying to do a better job than Wayne Rooney, who just took over the Plymouth Argo job.
Yeah. So today we're trying to do a better job than Heckingbottom and Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
Who somehow managed to fail upwards and get the Bayern Munich job.
How did he do that? Yeah, it's
no idea. But he did get this Burnley side relegated after a very good championship season. I chose Burnley. You allowed me to choose first.
Yeah, I thought it was fair enough, because usually you give me the chance of choosing who I want, so I thought, well, be fair, let you have a go, because it was one of those teams. They were both sort of like, I want to say bad teams, but they both got relegated, so I don't think it made much difference really.
No, so I'm taking over, as you can see, at Turf Moor. Dad is taking over at Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. So yeah, we've got 2 fairly even sides. I think where I'm better on the wings in midfield, you've got some really good strikers.
Yeah,
I think that's something that actually you benefit from. You
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's have a look. Transfers going into the championship might be a bit of an easier season, a bit of an easier time than what these clubs will actually have in the championship, because we're using the updated database. What it doesn't do in the updated database is make all your players crapper when they do terrible going into. We've still got basically what they were in the winter update, so we haven't like made them worse. Yeah, downgraded them. So, and we struggled to sell them. Couldn't sell anybody. And I think that's again because of the updated database.
And it was hard to buy players of a certain caliber that you need as well. But I mean,
we're in the championship.
You're looking at. I think we're used to sort of playing with better teams now. You're looking at sort of like a 3.5 to 4 star, and you just couldn't get them.
No.
I mean, I struggled with a couple of players.
You picked up Kaiki to begin with from Manchester City.
Yeah,
very cheap option there. Malang Sarr from Chelsea for 800k on the transfer list.
I mean, like you said, I've got a very good strike force, so I'm just strengthening my defence up here.
He's solid too.
Yeah.
And then finally, you got Marius Wolf from Borussia Dortmund.
This is a very good caliber. So he goes right up the sidelines as well. So get the ball across.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, good.
And you, Dad, are playing a 4-3-3 narrow.
I'm attacking. I've got the attack force to do it, so I just felt like that was the tactic to go with. Use the best players I've got in the team.
Okay, and if you did pick without restriction, this is what I mean about the strikers. You've got Ryan Brewster, Ollie McBurney, and Cameron Archer, who is phenomenal for the championship level. So you've got 3 really good strikers, not to mention there's a couple on the bench who would be quite good as well. Benny Traore's not half bad, and Usula actually is, for championship level, still decent.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's like your 3rd best striker there. So lots of options to play around with. That's the starting 11.
I thought my midfield was very good, very solid.
Yeah. Let's have a look to see what I've counter-done at Burnley. I've actually sold a couple of players. Vitinho went for £6.5 million. Got Twine left for like £1 million. There's a couple of players who left for a little bit more. I mean, there was actually... I sold a player for £7.5 million. I actually got quite a lot from loan deals. Manuel Benson went out for £4.5 million for a loan deal, which I couldn't believe. And Noah Masengo as well, gone to Zaragoza. And it allowed me to bring in some players. Now, obviously, Mike Trezor is a deal that's already done before I joined the club, because I definitely want to spend £18 million going into the championship. But what I have spent is £5 million, 4.8 on Courtney House, left-footed centre-back, very similar to your Malang Sarr deal, really.
Yeah.
And then Leandro Morgala, £5 million. I've seen him develop into a quality defender. I've tried loaning him out. It didn't quite work, so we'll just have to see if he can progress a little bit at the club, because £5 million now could be 20 million later on down the line if he progresses quite well. But my favourite two signings, I've got Charlie Patino, a really good young English centre attacking midfielder, and Joe Rego. Now, the other thing that's difficult in the Championship, of course, is work permits.
Yeah.
You don't get work permits as often as what you would in the Premier League because the players that you're going for are not gaining enough points to gain a work permit. We do have the allocate ESC points, but Joe Rego, one of the players that didn't need it. And I'm quite surprised by that. He is a wonder kid on Football Manager, so picking him up for £13 million is an absolute steal. Not quite a first team caliber player.
No, but he's just come from the Benfica B side, isn't he?
Yeah. So I'm going to start both him and Charlie Patino. If I give him the game time now in a league that I should be going up, I could benefit from it later on.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is something you don't like doing.
No, I don't. I mean, this is the difference between me and you. You recognise players as well. You know that he was a good player, and you sort of like, you will gamble on things like that. I'd buy a player for now, don't I? He's in, and I want him to be in my starting lineup, don't I?
Yeah.
So
if I went my best 11, neither of those two go in there. In fact, Masengo is not even at the club. I do have Wout Weghorst for one more season before he will inevitably not want to sign another deal. But I've even got a libero on defender to step up into that role there. Courtney House is quite good on libero on defend, but the actual two wing backs are also on defend. So we're kind of just allowing these front five to then just have at it, really, with Sander Berge dropping back as well as a ball winner. So yeah, let's have a look at the schedule so far then. I've had a couple of draws, but only 2 in the actual league. No losses so far. Blackburn and Southampton. So 2 difficult games, really. Beat the likes of Middlesbrough and Bristol City, Luton, who also obviously came down with us as well, and Bolton, who came up. I've drew 3-3 with them. So this database isn't quite accurate because obviously it would be Oxford, but one that I've got simulates all the way up into the playoffs, which is the reason why Bolton came up instead of Oxford. But that's the only real changes that you're going to see. But yeah, my next actual month is really difficult, and that ends with you, in fact. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how that gets on. Dad, your schedule so far: you beat Bolton in the first game 6-2, lost to Leeds in the EFL first round of the Cup, but we don't really worry about that right now. Our main aim is to get back in the Premier League.
Straight back into the league, and I beat Leeds.
Beat Leeds in the same stadium as well, 2-0. Nice and comfortably. Beat Portsmouth after their promotion. Southampton 1-1 draw against them. Watford 4-0 and then 5-1 against Stoke. You've started to find your feet as we go into the main crux of it. And you've got Plymouth as well as Burnley coming up in the Championship in the next following month.
Good start for me as well. So 2 good starts, really, I think.
Yeah. Now, we should say, although we said the league table at the start, winning the Championship isn't classed as winning the league in what we're going to do here, because we're going into the Premier League, which is a higher division. So it's just going to be a point for finishing higher if you win it, or promotion is kind of the same. So with all that being said, how fast can we get back into the Premier League? And then that question is, can we survive and stay there, unlike what these two teams did this season? Let's find out. Season 1, Dad, you take the lead.
112 points. I mean, actually, both over 100 points.
Yeah.
That's bloody good, isn't it?
We stuffed it, really. Southampton come up with us, beating Luton in the playoff final there. But you lost 6 games. One of them was against me as well, which of course is a point. So you finish higher in the league.
You only lost 5.
Yeah, I actually lost
You drew
less.
11. That's where you lost out on, really.
My away form was bad. You did beat me though, so it's 2-1 in terms of points in that season. You finished higher, you beat me, but I also beat you. That's 1 point each there.
I was scoring goals.
Scored 119 goals, 8 against Plymouth. Conceded 45, just 1 less than what I did, so your goal difference is far superior. You definitely deserve to go up. Was it tight at the top? Did you stay at the top the whole season? Yeah, pretty much. There was a little bit of a time there where I overtook you, but you stayed on top for the rest of the season there.
That's good that we dominated the league, didn't it?
Yeah. Cameron Archer, 30 goals, Dad.
We did say that. Anyway. Good strike force up there.
26 from Wout Weghorst and
I had the
Carl
average
Morris.
rating as well. Look.
Yeah, Ryan Brewster's there. He had 24 goals. He was 4th.
Yeah.
And he had the highest average rating. Cameron Archer had the most man of the matches. James Trafford with the most clean sheets.
Good keeper.
Yeah. So, we started off very well. Any cup competitions? I imagine probably not. 5th round in the FA Cup by Man United isn't bad. 4th round by Bournemouth almost. So 2 Premier League teams knocked me out. That's
good, yeah.
Not bad at all. And Dad, yourself,
Manchester
first round
United as well.
by Leeds, third round by Man United. So that's a bad third round draw, really.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at your goals. So we know Cameron Archer scored a lot. He got 30, 26 from Ryan Brewster, 19 as well from Ollie McBurney.
Pleased with that.
Third
3 players.
strike is good.
3 players up there, so yeah, it's good.
Centre midfielder even getting 12 and 13, so that's decent. Let's have a look at my Burnley side. 28 from Weghorst. Has he signed a new deal? He hasn't, so it looks like he will be leaving. Will he enter a new contract? No. So yeah, he's definitely gone. So Mike Trezor with 21 and 12 assists though. Aaron Ramsey with 17 and 14. Joe Rego 14 and 14 in his first season. And a good average rating too.
Yeah.
Still don't think he's quite good as what I'd need to make him to keep him in that side. Charlie Patino.
Still only
grew quite
19 though,
nicely,
isn't he?
Yeah, that's the trouble. Needs another season probably of playing as much as possible. But there we go. It's a good start to the season. Transfer budget's going into the Premier League. 37. It's not bad.
Not bad, yeah.
Good high wage budget.
Yeah, probably give you nearly 40, wouldn't it?
41 for you.
Good
With a
wage
very
budget.
similar wage
Yeah.
budget.
That's fair enough then.
Yeah, so you've roughly got about 45, 50 if you alter this a little bit in your favour. I've roughly got about 40. It's enough to do a job in the Premier League. It's not enough to like go, we're getting European football in the first season.
No.
You know the points. It's 2-1 to Dad. Let's move on to season number 2. Now, in terms of the transfer window, they don't come much better than the one I've just done at Burnley, I think.
Yeah.
Consider I lost. Without Weghorst, I needed a striker. I also sold £86 million worth of players. 3 of them went to the same Saudi club in Sander Berge, Amdouni and Manuel Benson, all getting a good amount of money for that. That's the main crux of the 86 million that I managed to get. Also made a profit out of Leandro Mogala after 1 season. Didn't even play him either. And that allowed me to spend £55 million here, as well as pretty much £50 million there too. So Ethan Ampadu was the first man that I signed from Leeds United, who still didn't get promoted last season, so I made sure I popped the player off from them. And then Soumare from Leicester. So I've taken Leicester's centre defensive midfielder. Now Leicester, if we look at that, got relegated last season. So if we got to the Premier League, we can see Leicester, Fulham and Ipswich all came down.
Is that going to be true?
And that's why I decided to sign a lot of their players. So Soumare was the first one that I decided to bring in. Good centre defensive midfielder. I also went for Leif Davis, the left back at Ipswich, English as well. A fantastic left back.
Yeah.
To be fair, there was a lot of people saying he should have been on the plane in the Euros because he's a left-footed left back.
Left-footed player, yeah. I mean, his crossing ability and taking corners and that, 16 and 17. You know, you can understand why he played so well in the Championship, really.
So he joins the club for £16 million. It's a good signing, really. But there's also more. Lorenzo Luca for £5 million. Couldn't believe it. He has just been injured, though, and he's out for like 3 weeks for knee ligaments. But signed him from Chelsea. He made the signing there, scored 4 goals in 18 games, probably all off the bench as well. They were. That's not bad, really.
No.
So £5 million for a player who got 4 goals off the bench for Chelsea. I'll take that. He's had the only worrying thing is he's played everywhere so far.
Yeah.
He is not stuck around for a while. So 2 years is kind of his limit. I want to keep him for longer than 2 years, ideally. Hopefully he can stay for the whole 4. Alejandro Francis for £6.25 million. There's a reason why I've signed him. I wanted a more defensive right back than what I already had. Pedro Alvaro also joins the club. Maybe bit of a mistake. I don't think he'll actually play now that we've also got Ampadu as well at centre back. But there we go. We've got a backup striker because Lorenzo Luca is my main striker. I needed a secondary one.
And he's good as well.
He's decent as well, yeah. 22-year-old Nigerian from Victoria Paulson. Got 10 goals last season. And then finally, this is probably the reason why I didn't need that second centre back. I spent £18 million on Bitshiabu, who has the potential to be a world-class centre-back, but for now, just needs the game time. Left-footed as well, great pace and acceleration and strength. He can cope with Premier League, the pace of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is what I'm hoping. Played 3 games already for me. Might have struggled a little bit, but we'll see. There's a reason why I've gone for a very similar tactic to the Pentagon Challenge. And if you want to have a look at the Pentagon Challenge, I'll leave that at the end of the video. But I was losing every single game. So I went and plugged in almost the same tactic as my Pentagon Challenge. You'll see there is a few different changes. For instance, there's the halfback, and sometimes I don't use the halfback there, and instead of the Tracatista, I've used an attacking midfielder with, of course, the target forward. I am nailing in Joe Rego into that position there, because if I don't, it gets changed out. And Masengo as well, who's just come back from his loan and done a good job, actually, on loan. 30 games in La Liga with a decent average rating for the type of player he is. So, Bitshiabu as well.
So what's the position you've locked them into? The
Segundo Volante.
Right.
So he will play there every single game, as well as the left centre back.
So you put both of them there on those positions.
Yeah. So if I did best 11, you'll see those all three disappear. Well, actually, to be fair, Bitshiabu does go in there, but from time to time, it was a little bit ropey whether he did or not. So I kind of want to keep that avoiding. I want the players to be in there that I need them to be, because as you've seen, haven't won a game in the Premier League yet. We've only played 3, but I haven't even scored a goal yet, despite having Lorenzo Luca. I got stuffed against Palace, but Brentford and Newcastle beat me 1-0 as well. I did go through the next round by beating West Brom in the EFL Cup, but yeah, I need to change things around quick, because else I'll be out the door. There'll be no more points. I'll have minus 10 points for being sacked, and there'll be no more rebuilds. So, Dad, let's have a look at you and see how you've done. Now, you've spent a lot less, which surprises me, to be honest. But you didn't manage to get rid of many players. Only £11 million then, £6 million for Max Lowe, both going to Ipswich Town, staying in the Championship. So, the players you did bring in. Matteo Prati was the first guy, and I can see why you spent £21 million on him.
Yeah, good midfield player. Just sort of strengthens the midfield up, which is what I wanted. He'll go straight into the first team, definitely. So
yeah, plays it in so many different player roles as well.
That's an advantage as well, isn't it?
Then you've got a couple of fullbacks coming in, so a couple of cheap fullbacks too.
Well, I was just thinking, I wanted to strengthen the squad, and I just couldn't get the caliber of player that was going to be better than what I've already had. So I've decided to go for cheaper players, which are just as good. So that they're sat there, if they get an injury, these guys will come in, because I don't think they actually do get into my starting line.
Okay. Then you got Taylor Harwood-Bellis on a free transfer.
Yeah.
Centre back there. Marco Birch is a player I've never heard of before, but he's a Swiss centre back. So
good one as well,
left-footed as well.
Yeah.
And then finally, Paul Nobel from Mainz, £6.75 million.
Another good midfielder, plays in two positions really.
Yeah. Good centre attacking midfielder though.
Yeah, but like you say, he's a squad player that just, if you do get a problems, he will be there.
Yeah, 22-year-old as well, so he's quite young still, having for a long period of time. And your schedule, your tactics, sorry, you've gone a little bit different to what you was last season.
I just
very similar to mine in a way.
I just felt that I couldn't play 3 up front, and so I dropped one back into the shadow strikers role.
I would say you've only got 3 defensive roles in a Premier League is going to be tough, but it's been proving me wrong so far, because in the Premier League games you have not lost in 3. You've drawn against Nottingham Forest and Manchester City.
That's a hell of a result, isn't it? Drawing against City
at the Etihad as well, and stuffed Everton 3-2.
Yeah. Good start.
Good result there. Also, through the next round, you beat Doncaster 3-0 in the FL Cup second round. So everything's looking positive for you, Dad, but for me, it's looking very dull and gloomy. What is going to happen in the second season? Let's simulate it and find out. Okay! Oh! On the final day.
Oh, no.
I was buzzing with my 12th place finish, and then I was like, oh, where have you gone? Bournemouth won on the final day.
All I needed was a draw.
Looks like they beat Southampton. Rivalry as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bournemouth, Southampton.
Who did I lose against?
Lost against Norwich or Villa by the looks of it. So let's go over to you. Relegation. You still haven't been sacked. Oh my God, it's not looked good. No. The only team that let you in was Tottenham since New Year's Day.
So the 1st of January, I won 1 game.
Yeah, the rest were only in cups.
How didn't I get sacked?
I don't know. You were taking Tonkin after Tonkin as well, like 6-1, 3-0, 5-2,
I had some bad injuries.
5-2.
That's just a real bad change, isn't it?
There's nobody injured right now. Your medical centre, you can see injury history. You had a couple of major ones. So broken collarbone in February. Matteo Prati was out for 5 weeks. Paul Nobel was broken toe, was out for 7 weeks. Wes Fotheringham, keeper, 4 to 5 weeks. I don't know if you've bought a better keeper or not. There's a couple that's out for a little bit there, but
dear.
Not like huge amounts, but there's a few in there.
Yeah,
but that's cost you big time.
Awful.
Cameron Archer with 19 goals, still going down into the Championship again.
At one stage, in the middle of the season, to last roughly where January
is.
You were
7th.
And I just lost it from there, didn't I?
You were 7th. You were never in the relegation zone.
to the last game of the season.
Until you lost the last game of the season.
Oh dear, oh dear.
You're never in the relegation zone. You were in 7th on the 1st of January. That is a steep, steep decline.
Awful. I only had to win one more game and I'd have been alright.
Look at me surviving.
Yeah.
I was on the cusp of relegation for so long. Look at that. Boom, up into 12th. Arsenal won the league. There's a couple of surprise people in the goals there. James Maddison getting 18 goals.
Yeah.
As well as Sasha Kaladzic as well. None of our players. Oh, Leif Davis is there with player of the match. Oh, that's a good sign.
Yeah, we did say he was good, didn't we?
Yeah. We're on Sheffield United. We've seen your goals. There's not a lot going on down there.
That's the problem. When you look at one person scoring 19 and then the next one 8, 7, 5.
Yeah.
You can understand why I
Deteriorate quite fast.
didn't win any games.
You still got given £60 million for next season. Burnley, though. Oh, I haven't looked at the competitions for Burnley. 3rd round and 5th round. Never mind. We'll move on. Squad. I had less goals than you, Dad. 17 from Lorenzo Luca, 6 from Joe Rego, 5 Lyle Foster.
Goes to show you just won enough games at the end of the season and I didn't win any, so
Yeah.
and we swapped places really.
Results at the end of the day. Now,
Yeah.
speaking of results, I beat you there in February, which we did see. What about the earlier fixture? It was a draw, so you didn't gain any points from that.
No.
So, I mean, we've never had I don't think we've ever had a relegation in the versus rebuild.
Well, there we go, we have now.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and you remember if you've watched every single versus rebuild, but I don't think we've had a relegation, which means we've never had a points thing for it. So
No.
we're not going to do one now. To be fair, that evens it out that if you win the championship next season, or the championship last season, to be fair, you don't get any points.
I mean, the only
for
good
it,
thing
so.
for you really is you know you're going to get 1 point next season on me.
Yeah, I get 1 point finishing higher next season.
I mean, that's the only good thing for me really. I know
You
I'm only going to
only
lose
get
1
1
nil.
point.
Yeah.
I could win a cup.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I could
Sorry
win the
about that.
league.
Yeah, you could do,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
There's no European football, but I could do the
Well, I got
treble
hope there's
still.
only 1-0 next season then,
Yeah,
really.
exactly. I mean, I get another point there as well as finishing higher, so that's 2 points, but you don't get any points for being taken off you for being relegated. Really? You've got treble that, and you're going down a division. That's mental. I haven't even got any wage budget either. I don't know what I'm going to do with this team. There's a couple of players who I wanted. Maybe I could get... Oh, he's only off a loan. That I could get some money for, but... might struggle myself. I might be joining you down in the championship next season.
Yeah.
If you stay there. All right, then let's have a quick look at the points tally at the end of season 2. Well, the season points are Omega Luke with 2, Omega Dad with 0, which means the total points after Dad's relegation is Omega Luke with 3, Omega Dad with 2. Well, Dad, you sold a few players. You
Yeah,
managed to
proper
sell
clear
a
out.
couple of players there. There's actually another £9 million going out there. Definitely spent some money.
Yeah, 80, 90 million.
So
Total really in the end.
let's have a look. We've got Iheanacho coming in from Southampton. So he's actually moved around quite a few championship clubs now.
Yeah.
He's was at Leicester, now Sheffield United from Southampton.
Good
Neil
striker.
Mopai.
Yeah.
You love this guy, don't you?
Nope.
James Tarkowski from Everton. £3 million.
Good solid defender, I think this guy is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to strengthen the squad as well. And he might not start, but he is good. Good one if he has. You get an injury, so there really.
Vasquez, nearly £10 million on a
Yeah.
left-footed centre-back there. Good aggression. The top half there is quite good.
Yeah.
Mexican centre-back from Genoa. Then Canizares. Now, of course, his dad was the famous Spanish goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Canizares. That's his son, Lucas Canizares, of course,
And he's
of
a good
Valencia.
keeper as well.
Yeah, he came through the Real Madrid Youth Academy.
Yeah.
Went to Huesca in that first season. Had a couple of really good seasons. 14 clean sheets in La Liga 2 there.
He's got 2 for me already, so
He's
I'm
got
pleased
2
with that.
for you. Yeah, he looks like a decent goalkeeper at age
Yeah.
24. That's good for the Patreon and channel members. Should you wish to take on the save at the end of the 5 years, you could take over Dad's Sheffield United team when they finally make it back into the Premier League after being in the Championship for 3 seasons. Or you can take over my Burnley side after we've just won the Premier League and the Champions League in back-to-back years. We'll have to see when that all comes into fruition. That's on patreon.com/MegaLukeGaming or on join button channel memberships. On the £5 tier, you get the save game file. Maybe you just want to steal the tactics. You can do that as well. Thank you, everybody, for who does that,
Yeah,
by the
thank
way.
you.
You pay for Dan to be sat here with me right now. Then the rest of the signings, Yannick Vestergaard on a free transfer. That's a good sign-in as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good experienced centre back as well.
Bit slow,
So
but
I've got
that's
2
the
good
only thing.
experienced centre backs really,
Yeah.
if I need them.
Keaton Parks from New York City.
Yeah.
That's the guy that when we did the MLS rebuild, I just can't get rid of Keaton Parks. I've got to keep Keaton Parks. Had so many trade offers come in for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Albert Grombeek, £8.25 million from Spurs.
Good player this round.
He's
Pleased to get
resorted
on.
to buying bloody Spurs players
Yeah,
now.
of course I am.
And then Dominic Solanke, £23 million.
I felt I needed that sort of like that one striker that you sort of think is good enough to be in this league by a country mile. When you get into the Premier League, you can still use him as well. So this is the guy I brought in.
Back to back,
Yeah.
14 goals.
So I'm hoping. I
in
mean,
the
you look at
Premier
him now.
League.
He's already 2 goals, 2 assists,
Two player
of the
matches.
matches as well. So that's not bad out of 6 games, is it?
Yeah, solid. Tactically then, gone back to what you was.
Well, it done me well the first season,
Yeah.
so I've gone back to it again. So yeah, same tactic, just a few different players, really. Hopefully stronger.
It does look like a stronger side.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. In the championship, we'll have a look at your schedule because it's not going to spoil anything. Right? It's not going to show my results unless we play each other in the FL Cup. That would just be unlucky.
Here we go.
But there you go. Started off with a draw, but then the rest of it, win, win, win.
Yeah.
All the way through, even beating the likes of Brighton there in the EFL Third Round Cup.
So pleased with that
Win
start.
against
I
Southampton.
mean that to me was like when I won that game, I thought, right, I'm in with a chance of winning this league. But if
Yeah.
I'm going to beat Southampton, then you're in with a chance, really.
Stevenage have done well to get
Yes.
come up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Be quite surprised with that to see them in the championship there. But yeah, all's looking good for you, Dad, in the championship. If we have a look at the season preview, it does actually put you as very big favourites to go back up alongside Fulham. But let's have a look at the Burnley side that I have been building because £107 million going out in total in terms of the players from last season as well. But if you go by just recent, there's £12 million there from Aaron Ramsey, Josh Cullen going for 7.5. A lot of players leaving on free transfers as well. £24 million gone out with Mike Trezor being £20 million of that. That's because I binned off the type of player that I needed for him. And I brought in Karim Konate, £15 million for a very good pacey striker there, only 22 years of age. But this one's probably my favourite signing, Lamine Kamara from Metz. He is a very good centre midfielder in terms of centre midfielder on attack, that kind of role that I absolutely love. And he gets forward whenever possible. It's a perfect player, in my opinion, for that role. Off the ball at 16, arriving late. With off the ball at 16, good enough composure, the vision and the work rate when he does have the ball at his feet to pass it. This guy's quality. Then we've got £14 million spent on Buonani from Nice. Can fill in on that right-hand side there. Left-footed, he probably won't start because he's not really rated that highly right now, but it's one for the future for me. Pontus Dahlberg, because I didn't realise I only had one goalkeeper. So, Pontus Dahlberg comes in. It's quite a cheap one, actually, and to be fair, he's just as good as
Not
James
bad.
Trafford.
Yeah.
Tactically then, gone for a 4-2-2, but I've got a half-back in there. I've got a centre midfield on attack. Konate goes in that advanced forward. I haven't put in Joe Rago because finally he goes in naturally.
Yeah.
Love to see that. So it does actually have Lyle Foster and Luca up front, which is the reason why I put Konate in there. So hopefully he plays more games. But the rest of the side I was kind of happy with. Joe Rago after 2 good seasons. Look at that development already. Solid.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
My schedule so far, the second season in the Premier League. I've got 1 win against West Ham, but the rest of them, to be fair, difficult games. Man City and Arsenal.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's not the 2 games you want to start the season off with,
No.
is it?
Lost to Wolves on penalties in the EFL Cup. Drew 0-0 with them in the same stadium 4 days later. So difficult September. In fact, going into October is hard. We've just got to keep our job into November.
Yep.
That's what I've got to hope for. And then into December, where it's got so many of the teams around me all playing such a short space of time.
Yeah.
That's where I need to pick up a lot of wins. Season number 3. Dad's in a different division right now, but let's see how we get on. Can he join me back in the Premier League, or will we just switch? And I hope not. Anyway, let's find out. Okay, Burnley, 11th place. I'll take it.
Yeah, you were there for the whole of the season, by looks of it, in that position.
Yeah, so that is good enough, mate. Spurs won the league.
What's wrong with that?
Things you just don't see, ever. Past positions, Burnley, I just stayed dead nine.
You had that bad start, like you said, and when you got to playing the teams that was around you, up you went.
Yep.
Well
Absolutely.
done.
So, got to be proud of that.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Luca, second top scorer of the league, only behind Erling Haaland with 23. So, that's good. He also had one of the highest average ratings as well, and one of the most player of the matches. So, he really pulled through for our side this year. Probably without him, we would have been down in the relegation zone. Speaking of relegation zone, where was Dad? No cup competitions. Over to Dad. Champions.
Over 100 points again.
And you stayed there the whole season. Comfortably
Pleased with
up
that.
there. Playoff final. Southampton's finally coming up. So that's good. But yeah, you absolutely dominated. Solanke with 25. You had the 3 highest average rating. In fact, you had 4 out of the 5 with Marius Wolf there as well. Solanke had the 2nd highest amount of man of the matches. Really solid. Only lost 4 games, Dad, in one of the hardest divisions.
Yeah, pleased with that.
I've got to be happy with Plymouth Argyle, look.
Yeah.
7th place. You even lost to them as well. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate.
I was gutted then.
Steve Cooper. I would have minded that.
I would have preferred that, didn't I?
Yeah.
No,
Wayne's going to do it. Wazza Rooney.
I remember when I asked you about when Argyle lost their manager, he was one of the managers that you did say to me, I wouldn't mind him coming down here.
Hell yeah. Yeah, he'd be really good.
Yeah.
Never know what he's looking at. So
No, you don't. Right, can you do this, and everybody's in the change room like,
Yeah,
because who's doing that?
If you've ever watched a Steve Cooper interview, he has to do this if he wants to look at you straight. Because his eyes, it's a funny looking man, but cracking manager.
Cracking manager, yeah.
So, Dad, you're joining me in the Premier League next season. Cup competition.
Pleased to be back again.
In both. Wow.
Lost a semi-final to Man City.
3-0, you were tonked.
Yeah.
They beat Tottenham in the final, so you didn't have a domestic double, unfortunately, Tottenham. But runners-up,
in the final.
Chelsea. Just 1-0 as well.
I'm done with that, can I?
That is mental. Let's have a look at your run. So, 3rd round, you knocked out Brian, which we've seen. 4th round, knocked out Crew Alexandra.
That's right, you take the easy ones.
You're going to push your way to the final.
Yeah, you still got to do it though, aren't you?
Quarter-final, Bournemouth. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. There's a cracking time there, like 5-4.
Oh, they can do all the hard work for me.
And then semi-final, you knocked out Bristol City.
You got to have the look of it. When you're one of the smaller teams, you need that luck of the draw, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You only have 1 Premier League.
Yeah.
2, because you have Brighton as
Yeah.
well. Let's have a look at your goals then. 30 for Dominic Solanke, 24 for Cameron Archer,
Good
20 for Neil Mopai. Even a couple of 14s there. Not bad, really. Your budget for going into the Premier League, 40 million.
Lower than I thought it would be, you know.
Well, you had 50 million last time. You couldn't stay.
Yeah, you 50 million when you go down. What do they want me to do now? Oh, I've got to take it, haven't I?
I got 27 goals for Lorenzo Luca, 18 for Kareem Konate. Joe Rego. This was his breakout season.
Yeah.
How good is he now? I mean, attribute-wise, yes. Performance-wise, no. 6 goals, 3 assists, and a bang average rating. That is quite bad, actually.
But then you're looking at next season, then could be his season, isn't it?
It should be, yeah. Bitshiabu as well, look. This is what I mean. I needed to put my faith in 17 for pace and strength. You ain't getting past him. He's got 15 in anticipation as well.
Yeah.
As long as he can see you, you ain't getting past him. And he can also bloody jump. He's 6'5" with 16 jumping reach. You ain't winning the ball against him. I'm looking good. European football next season, I reckon. Yeah, easy.
You reckon?
Put my faith in Bitshiabu and Joe Rego. Hopefully I just keep hold of Lorenzo Luca. He's wanted by a lot of clubs. Just keep hold of him. Speaking of... I've got to say, less than you again. Back-to-back seasons where I've done well. We didn't play each other. There was just 1 extra point.
Yeah.
So, the season that you had going down below, I mean, maybe in the future we do add a relegation thing or something like that, but we didn't really do it because we haven't ever had that situation before. But I just gained 1 point for finishing higher. So the points are now 4-2.
Won the cup.
I know. Yeah, but imagine if you won one of the cups.
I'd have more points than you've been in the lower league.
You'd have more points and you got relegated. When the whole point of this is to rebuild relegated teams.
Yeah.
It's like, stay in the championship, but I won because I won 1 cup and then just avoided in the rest of it.
The problem is, we always call it the Sheffield United, the Lutons, all the yo-yo teams to me. That's exactly what I'm doing at the moment. I've gone up, down, down.
I'll say you go back down again next time. But yes, the score is only 4-2 on the points, so we'll just have to have a look at the next season. Right, Dad, your second season.
Yes.
In the Premier League. So technically, this is like a second rebuild.
Yeah, it is,
Of the same club. You sold £32 million worth of players. Taylor Harwood-Bellis gone for 14, so got him a free transfer. There's a little bit of profit there. £15 million worth for Jaden Bogle. And Sorensen, Adam Sorensen, has also left for 2.6. He spent £76 million. Keeper coming in Kovacevic.
I needed a good reserve keeper. This is the one I brought in for it.
Yeah, he's decent. Leonardo Stergiou.
Yeah, another stronger centre back. I felt I needed my defence just needed to be a little bit stronger again, I feel. So I'm trying to strengthen the squad with defenders as well.
Cesar Montez.
Yeah.
Signing so many players.
I mean, the problem was as well, was finding the players of the calibre that I needed to stay in this league.
Yeah.
and it was quite difficult. I mean, I was pleased with this guy. He's at left back.
He's good.
Yeah, he's really good.
A lot of 14s in there.
That was a signing that I felt that was going to go straight into my team.
Yeah.
Where the rest of the signings I was doing, it was like, I'm signing them and I'm thinking to myself, are they going to make my first team, or is it just going to be it's the same caliber of player that I've already got there?
Yeah.
Because I just couldn't get anything better than that was willing to come to me. I mean, there's another right back there, and he's good, but is he first team player, or is he going to be a reserve? And that's the type of players that I was signing. So I'm just hoping, really, they were better than the last season I was in the Premier League.
Yeah, and then there's another £11 million on a CDM
on a defensive midfielder, sort of, right? Yeah, that's what I really went for.
Okay, so tactically, did you stick with your 3 up top? You did, but you changed it slightly in midfield.
I changed this formation the last game before we started simulating tonight, because I started off really, really bad.
Yeah, that's right. So your best 11, that is your best 11 pick right there.
So I tried to bring in all the best players that I had in those positions. As you can see, my right back's there, my left back's there, the defensive midfielders there. So I had 2 really good defensive midfielders, and I felt like because of the way I'd started this season, I really needed to sort of like just really defend it and hope that I get through the season. I thought if I can get through one season, then I can improve on what I've got.
Build on it.
Yeah, there's my start.
I mean, you won one game.
Yeah.
Beat Bournemouth 3-1, but it's the rest of it.
I wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
that was a game.
Aston Villa's again.
It's one of those games with Villa, you think, should I or shouldn't I? And I thought, I'm not disappointed. And then the next game I beat Bournemouth, I think, right, I'm on my way now.
Yeah.
Then you look at, I've got Man City now, and you think, all right, I'll take the lose. Derby in the cup, and I lost, but then I got Southampton, and I'm thinking, I should be losing that game.
Yeah, but it's away from home. It's 4-3.
Yeah,
you put up a good fight. It's just one of those ones where it could have gone either way.
You need to win those games, though, don't you?
Yeah.
To stay in this league.
But I don't know. I don't know whether you might have been too drastic with those changes. Let's have a look. Let's see what I've done in the transfer budget. I've only got £1 million left, which suggests I spent a lot. Jordan Byer's gone to Al Nassr. I've got a nice little partnership with them. They just keep buying any players that I want to get rid of. 25 million there. I also sold the backup striker. Never really played for £2.2 million. But what I did do, I brought in 2 players for roughly £20 million. So the first one being Joe Gomez from Wolves, who I think were relegated last season. So yeah, they're not in the league this time round. He had a relegation release clause, so that was an easy pickup for me. And then we got 2 free transfers in Kevin Danso. I think he's fantastic, playing for Lons. And then Enzo Leo Dice, something like that. Really good midfielder who does like good on the ball.
Yeah.
Very good on the ball. Great composure, decision making, teamwork and vision and that kind of stuff. And then a fantastic right back. I basically splashed most of my money on a good right back in Sergio Carrera, who in his first game got sent off. But for the rest of the season, he should be good for me.
Yeah,
He's got 1 assist in 3 games that he has played so far. Tactically, I've gone for a narrow diamond, and there's a Trequartista in there. Now, I never use a Trequartista because I always think, no, I want my players to be working hard. But when my team is not quite as good and I have a player that is a star man like Joe Regil, he gets the Trequartista role. He is phenomenal. He needs that Trequartista role. I don't want him to be doing anything defensively. I just need to focus on him, all of our attacks going through him, and creating enough chances for us to stay up and possibly even finish top half this season, progress from what we had last season. So,
big gamble.
It is a gamble, but the rest of the side, I think, can keep hold of. We've got a half-back with drop-ins. We've got basically a 3 at the back. The two wing-backs will push on forward. Mazzala and a centre midfielder on attack in that midfield there. And then, of course, the 2 up front.
I mean, you know your left back's going to be bombing down that wing, isn't he?
Yeah, Leif Davis is quality, really. Yeah. So hopefully Carrera can do the same. Let's have a look at my schedule then. So far, it started off with a 2-1 win against Arsenal. That's where Sergio Carrera got sent off for a second yellow. So if anything, hero.
Yeah.
That's probably one of those ones who was like, good tackle, good red card, did it for the team, sacrificed himself, took one for the team.
It could well have been as well, couldn't it?
Yeah, because then he only missed 1 game, which we actually did draw against Everton. We beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Joe Rego and Karim Konate with the 2 goals there.
Good away game, that.
1 against Grimsby, just 1-0. Then we beat West Ham 2-0. Lorenzo Luca, Joe Rego, lost to Man United in the Cup. But in the Premier League right now, I'm currently sat on points with
Joint
Man
top.
City. So we'll see how long that lasts. And they've just bought Jamal Musiala. So
Yeah, that's the type of players that they're dealing with. £108 million he joined last season. Well, January by the looks of it, 'cause he only played 14 games. So, yeah, I mean, let's see where we are.
Look where I am. Like, oh, no.
At the end of the season. It's season number 4. Tottenham somehow won the league last year. We'll see if they can do that this time round and simulate this 4th season. Okay, we both survived. Hey, I said European football next year.
You got it, yeah? Oh, yeah.
6th place. I was in 5th for ages as well.
Well done.
And I stayed in 6th. You survived, Dad, though.
I'm pleased with that. I'm pretty pleased with that.
And
that's what I needed.
You're still in a job.
Yeah.
So that's good. Europa League. I was so close. Oh, 6 points off of Champions League football next season. But I will take that.
I was 10 points clear, so I'm happy.
Yeah,
with
you were
that.
fine.
Yeah.
You had a bad end of the season, though.
Again.
Yeah. 6-1, I beat you in those final 4 games. Wow.
That's awful.
You lost 19 times. I beat you 6-1. I'll give you your biggest tonking of the season.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Enjoyed that. North London is winning the Premier League quite a lot, though, because Arsenal have won it this season. Lorenzo Luca with 19. Can't see any other of our players there, so we'll have to dive in a little bit more. We're on Burnley. Competitions. Quarterfinals by Wolves. 3rd round, which we already knew, in the Carabao Cup. Did you do it? I know you probably were seeing it there. 5th round by Burnley.
Give you a right hammer in this season, didn't you?
Come on, let's have a look at that. That's another 2 points for beating you and knocking you out of the competition.
Yeah.
The FA Cup, the competition you love the most as well. 2-1.
I do, yeah.
Plymouth Argyle got further than you this season.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
In that competition. Sheffield United then, let's see how many times. So that's 1 point. We already counted that one as well. In the earlier fixture, it was a 0-0 draw at Bramall Lane. So no points for you this season, Dad.
No.
But I get a point for staying up, a point for beating you, and 2 points for knocking you out of the FA Cup. That's 4 points for me this season. Let's see what that totals up to in a second. Before we see 13 goals from Cameron Archer. Neil Mopai with 12. It's low, Dad. What happened to him?
there?
I thought
Yeah.
you must have sold him.
Yeah.
6 goals.
Don't know what happened there at all.
He absolutely crapped the bed, didn't he? That's terrible. 63 million next year. I've got European football. I better get that. So I got 22 goals from Lorenzo Luca. Joe Rego, 16 and 10, and it's looking really good. Oh, he's unhappy. Oh, Joe, what's the matter, mate? What's the new deal?
That's all right.
He's happy to stay. Yeah. There was a time when his contract was running out after the 2nd season that I had him, and he wouldn't sign a new deal. And then it got to the end of the season, and he had signed a new deal.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank God for that.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely,
I
yeah.
almost lost him on a free transfer there. But how has nobody come in and gone, we want this guy?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Because even for £85 million from a top 4 club, it's probably worth it.
Yeah.
They're probably looking at that type of player right now.
I mean, his physicals are brilliant.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the pace, acceleration, that agility and balance, just so tricky. And he's quite strong, considered 12 for a centre attacking midfielder is decent. And he's 6 foot as well. It's like a Kai Havertz type of player.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
So
very good.
I'm happy with that one. He wants to sign a new deal. You will get that new deal. I'm going to buy him a new bloody house at this rate. Kareem Konate is a little bit disappointing though, unfortunately. But there we go. My transfer budget, you had £60 million. I've got 24. I've got European football next season. What are you doing? A lot of debts going on, I think. That's the trouble. Still got 100% of the transfer revenue made. So, okay. Let's tally up the points and see what happens. So the season points, as I mentioned, was Omega Luke with 4, Omega Dad with 0, which means the total points is Omega Luke with 8, Omega Dad still with 2. All right, 5th and final season.
Got to be a big season for me. I only scored 2 points. Yeah. So and I scored them the first season?
Yeah. It's been a bit of a tricky one for you in this rebuild so far, but
I've managed to survive, so I'm pleased now. Now I can sort of I'm saying I want to build on it, but when I'm looking at the players I'm trying to buy, I just couldn't get anybody in that sort of outstanding, sort of make you think, right, this is the season to go for it. You're going to see by the buys that I'm looking at now, I'm thinking to myself again, I've just survived. What am I doing wrong? And I'm sort of looking at it and thinking, I'm conceding too many goals. I'm not winning games. And you lose a game by conceding goals, don't you? So I'm trying to make my defence a little bit stronger again. and I think this is where I was spending most of my money on trying to come up with a good defense. I think that was the problem I was getting.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the caliber of defense that I actually needed to keep me in this league, and I was chopping and sometimes that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a word with me once, and you said, "How many defenders are you actually going to buy?" And
Are you like stalling for a violinist? I mean, this sob story's going on for a while.
Yeah, but I did say at the
We haven't even seen the transfers yet.
we did say at the beginning of the video,
We've
didn't
had
we?
2 minutes of making excuses.
We did say at the beginning of the video, didn't we? My strike force was very good, and I added to that, and I've always scored goals, but I'm still conceding goals, and I dread to think how many defenders I've signed in this video.
Oh, it's close to 40.
It's got to be.
Let's have a look at the next crop.
Yeah.
So actually,
Let's
you've
bring 'em
had
in.
some good signings
Yeah.
on this page.
Yeah.
On the next page, I think all of them were trash.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. Sofiane Diop for £26 million. He's a good winger.
Yeah.
Arguably, you want to get him earlier on because he does develop a little bit. It doesn't look like he has developed much here. Looks like he's kind of neglected for a little bit. Probably, yeah, he played a lot off the bench for Nice. Fortunately, until Norwich got hold of him and gave him a couple of good games. Then you got Mario Dorgiles for £7.25 million. A cracking CDM,
Yeah.
really, because he's got natural fitness, the strength, the positioning, work rates, all of the good stuff that you want, like a solid ball winner, ball destroyer.
Yeah.
And then finally, Stanisic there from Barcelona for £16 million is, again, a good centre-back.
And he plays right across the whole of the defence, so I felt
Yeah.
that he was a good player to get in.
Yeah.
If you get an injuries anywhere, you know he's just going to move across. So
Yeah,
I
but
thought
now
it was a good
it's time to get the hankies out because this is where Dad's going to cry. Honestly, I thought, what is going on here? I thought we hadn't even looked at you. We were on mine. I was going to go with mine to begin with, and then look at Dad's. Then Dad went on this monologue talking about, all the misery he was having. I thought, Christ, all right. Vojvoda from Roma. Yep, 33 he was. Free transfer. He ain't bad, but Dad signs every time. Then he spent $5 million on a 33-year-old again.
To be honest,
Mentals.
I know they were 33, but I was just getting them in. I needed to survive. I needed to do something this season, so I needed to stop conceding goals. I know I got the strike force to score goals, so I had to get players in that could hopefully do it.
Do you know what my suggestion would have been? Not spending £25 million on a right back that doesn't even get into your first team.
I know, but
I would have
if I get an injury
accumulated
there, he's going to go in.
all the money and all the wages on that on just one good centre-back to go alongside Stanisic.
I couldn't get anybody in.
Bet
I
you
was
could've.
I was looking at centre-backs every time. Left side and right side, and I just couldn't. That's why I ended up getting the old guys in again. They were the only ones that would come to me.
We're on centre-backs. I'm on Dad's scouting. There's one. He's already better. Antov. He's in your scouts. Your scouts found him. He's a better centre-back. He would have gone alongside Stanisic. Better positioning, way better than the Turkish guy that you signed. You've changed tactic, gone for a 4-2-2, which
I've gone for a little bit more attack because in the Premier League it does pay you to go for a little bit more attacking. So
Yeah.
I defended.
yeah.
Really,
Let's invite more goals.
well, I'm trying to make sure I score more goals this time. I played very defensive last season. The season before I was in the Premier League, didn't I? And I got
Yeah.
relegated. So I thought I'm not doing the same mistake again. So the two centre backs are in. Look, once I got in, they're in.
And the 8 that he signed last season are all sat on the
all
bench.
sat there. Look. Emerson Royal keep him company, won't he?
Yeah. God, I bet he's a
He's
blast.
up for a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, I cost 25 million, I did. Did you really, Emerson?
Do you want a blanket as well? Keep us warm.
Oh my God. Right.
Oh no.
So let's have a look
At least
at
me
your
wingers
schedule.
in as well. So
Yeah.
3 players are all in. Oh no. I mean, you look at my first 2 games: Arsenal, Man City, 5-1, 5-1, and
Yeah.
I thought, oh no, I'm in trouble.
10-2 on aggregate after 2 games.
Oh, I was chuffed to
Lost
bits
to Everton.
when I beat Burnley.
Yeah, he celebrated, guys, when he beat Barnsley. I went, you just beat Barnsley. You went, yeah, they're in the Premier League though. And I went, no, the Championship. Lost to Brentford,
Forest.
then beat Forest, who are also in the Championship, by the way,
All right.
in the Cup.
So I was just hoping, really, that when you win a game, it sort of like gets your momentum going, and that's what I was hoping for, really.
Yeah, 0 points from 4 so
Yeah.
far. You can see I've actually done quite well, so we haven't actually had a look at mine yet. We were going to look at it first, but then Dad went on about the players. Yeah, exactly. I genuinely thought, is he stalling for something? Is somebody about to come in? What is going on here? Okay.
I'm going to win a cup this season. I feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I
after that,
might get
son.
relegated, but I also win a cup.
Yeah, and I think you'll be at the club.
Okay, so the signings that I made, I think I had quite a nice little shrewd transfer window. I did sell James Trafford, which was the second season in a row that I've accepted a big offer for James Trafford. It was only this season he decided to leave. £26 million, and instead I brought in Jordan Pickford. Now, I don't normally like signing a player that is in their 30s, however, goalkeeper.
You can go away with them,
and with good natural fitness. He's going to be good. I've seen Pickford play till he's like 38 on it and still be decent. So I needed the English homegrown players, which is for registration purposes.
I was good at signing English players.
Yeah, you also signed 40 other players, which meant a couple of times they couldn't be. Anyway, we've done yours.
All right.
Stop hogging season 5.
I did have problems registering some of my players, didn't I?
Right, Rodrigo Ribeiro, £18 million in total, £15 million up front. I bought him because I had a big injury in the season. Mohamed Diamonde also come in, free transfer. Didn't go in for him right away, but eventually he was there. So picked him up.
He was the one I tried to buy.
You also tried going for him as well, and he was like, yeah, right, and came to me. And that's all the signings I made. I did sell a couple of players though. Masengo went and Koleosho went. Some Burnley fans might be going, why didn't you ever play Koleosho? The first season I actually loaned him out for 27 games. The second season he didn't play that much. The third season when we actually had wingers, again, didn't really play that much at all. So yeah, it just never really worked out for Koleosho. Neither did Odebear either. And so for wingers, I ended up going with a narrow formation in the end. So unfortunately, I'm sticking with the narrow diamond. I had to after how good that season was with it last season. And it's a very similar lineup, to be fair. In fact, the only change is the goalkeeper and Pickford coming in. Diamonde is kind of on the bench alongside Ribeiro, but as you can see, Kanate broke his ankle and he's out for 4 months. So he's going to be sat at home watching the games, which is going to leave Ribeiro and Lyle Foster to lead the line alongside Lorenzo Luca. Joe Rego, by the way. Oh, yes. It's been so long because of Dad's monologue, I forgot what he looked like. Schedule, then. 2 draws. Unfortunately, one was against newly promoted Wolves. That's a disappointing one. They've also got Ivan Toney as well, which I thought was an interesting one.
Scores a penalty as well.
Yeah. We also rescued a point against Man City. Antonio Silva scored for them. That's one of your favourite defenders there.
Yeah.
We got an equaliser in the 94th minute. Lovely stuff. Beat Everton 4-3. Beat Brentford 1-0. And Shrewsbury 3-0, which is where Karim Konate broke his ankle. So he's going to be out for a while. But again, I'm in Europe this season. I've got a bit of a small squad for Europe, so I'm not really anticipating much, if I'm honest. I just want to do well in the league and get European football, possibly Champions League football, for any channel members that wants to take it on. Antwerp, Trabzonspor, Casapia, Nice, Real Sociedad, Ludogorets, Braga and Rangers. Do you know what I find funny about this rebuild? It took us this long to get some kind of European football.
Yeah.
Very rare, isn't it?
It is,
Normally we're talking about European football, we're laughing at how much I hate Rennes or how much Dad loves Feyenoord. Hasn't happened. We haven't had a chance to. We've got no affiliation to any of these clubs whatsoever. Maybe we'd have to make something up. Oh, I heard Ludogorets a bit twats, aren't they? Just have to make stuff up for a story, but no, never mind. Okay, so
how do you think
Europa
you're going to do then? It's one of those where
I'll qualify from that.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think those two I should be winning quite easily. Casapia as well, to be fair. The Ludogorets and Braga, Rangers, Sociedad and Nice will be the games that I think I'll either drop points and draw or lose.
Yeah.
Maybe get a cheeky win, who knows. And I'll be happy with that. I think that should easily finish me in the top 24, whatever it is, to go for the playoff spot. So far this season, it's been a good start for me. It's been an awful start for Dad. The excuses are already pouring out. But how does it all end? Because Dad could still win this somehow after relegated.
I'm still in both cups, yeah, because I beat Forest, didn't I?
Yeah, you beat Forest.
So I'm still in 2 cups.
Still in 2 cups. You could still go on and win this somehow. Everybody's like, how has he survived all of this? Let's find out what happens at the end of season number 5. Season 5, come on! Champions League football.
Where am I team?
16.
Oh, yeah.
You're not in yellow, though.
No, I'm worried about that. Why not in yellow?
So I've got the violinist now.
Oh, they've sacked me.
Oh, amazing. What a tale of 2 stories this has been.
Yeah. I'm surprised it took them that long, really. I had a bad second season, didn't I?
Let's look at the positive. Lorenzo Luca, 43 goals this season. So, 74 points. 5 points off the top 3 as well. Finished comfortably in the top 4 by 7 points ahead of Tottenham, who have won the Premier League in this. That Sheffield United, you did survive.
Yeah.
You didn't. They did. So the profile of the league, 23 goals for Lorenzo Luca, which meant another 20 was scored outside of this.
Yeah.
Could have gone through the latter stages of the Europa League. Let's find out in a second. So let's look at when Dad was sacked. So now they've got Henrik Rydström in charge of Sweden. They got rid of you, Dad, in December. So you were sacked in December, misleading that in it, 2 league wins. Yeah, it was the championship. And then that's when he took over in the start of the new year. So we need to remember that date because we probably have played each other before that, as then that would either be a point for either of us if there was a win there. You do, however, get -10 for being sacked from your job.
Only had 2 points to start up.
I think means you don't win this one.
Yeah.
We might have to do a count. But we'll have a look. We're on Burnley still because we can't go to Sheffield United. We don't know how they've done. How did I do in the Europa League? Did I manage to get to the latter stages? Oh, what a season! Domestic double.
Got semi-finals.
Oh, semi-final. 20. I should be beating them. Pens.
Oh. It'd have been Rennes.
No,
They lost quarantine. That'd have been funny, wouldn't it?
Who missed? So they didn't miss one. Ribeiro and Kamara. Missed 2 penalties. Oh, gutted. That's so annoying. I won the first leg as well. Oh, I had loads of shots as well. Like their keeper had man of the match.
Mate,
Probably from saving the penalties.
You're talking about the game that you lost. Talk about the cups you won, mate.
I was going to say, I won 2 cups.
You won 2 cups in this. That's so...
With Burnley. Domestic double. Oh, stop
5-3.
Liverpool.
5-3.
Whoa. 4 goals in the final. Oh, good for Karim Konate as well. Broke his ankle earlier on in the season. Comes
on,
back.
yeah.
How good has he got?
Yeah.
Since he broke his ankle. Did they put a new one on? That's mental. Joe Rego, though, with 4 goals. Oh, he is. I'll tell you what, he's making me horny.
I'm getting out.
That is football manager porn right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody at home who's really into this game goes, whoa.
Got to be looking at him when he's young again, didn't you?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Good God, that is nice. Joe Rego, what a player. So we knocked him out. Well, we beat Liverpool in the final. We knocked out Southampton in the semi there. Quarter-final, knocking out Brighton. So we had quite an easy run. Oh, Arsenal on penalty. So it was a difficult one there.
Yeah, well done.
4th round, knocked out Blackburn in a replay. 3rd round, knocked out Everton 3-0. Carabao Cup. Who did we beat there? Yes. Could have asked for a better opponent in that final. 4-2. Who scored the goals in that one? Lamine Kamara, Ribeiro, Lorenzo Luca, and one final one from Ethan Ampadu. So good win again. Semi-final knocking out Portsmouth, who did quite well. Quarter-final knocking out Oxford. Christ. 4th round, Blackburn again. I played Blackburn 3 times this season. They weren't even in my league. And then 3rd round, Shrewsbury. So I had a very easy run into the final. But you got to get there somehow. And we got there. We bloody won it. Domestic double with Burnley. I bet they give me loads of money now in season number 6.
You reckon?
Oh, it always happens, doesn't it? No matter when you do anything, it's always season number 6.
I'm going to predict then, you've been an averaging, what, 20 was it you've been averaging?
40. And then last season was 20.
Oh, I'm going to go for 52.
I'm going to say they're going to give me 40 again.
You've been in the European. I mean, you got to the semi-final.
The Europa League.
You've won both cups.
Football,
You've got to have at least 50.
I reckon they're going to give me 40. Just don't bother, lads. What's the point?
You've got such a good team, you don't need a budget.
To be fair, you'd have bought 4 players out of that. And they complained about it. Yeah. Good God.
Oh, no.
All right. Oh, the debts are quite bad. All right, well, let's have a look at the points, shall we? Well, the season points are Omega Luke with 7. Omega Dad with -9. Because he did beat Luke in a fixture before they were sacked. Meaning the total points are Omega Luke with 15. Omega Dad with -7. So yeah, Dad, it turns out that you beat me
before I got sacked.
Before you were sacked at the end of November. So you were sacked around about here. So that gave you an extra point.
I think the game that I lost, who did I lose that to?
It was the 12th, wasn't it? So I think when I lost to Villa, you lost to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it was on 9th, something like that.
Yeah.
West Ham. Lost
That's it.
2-0.
Yeah, I lost to West Ham. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a great start. Although you had won a couple of games in there. You beat Tottenham, drew to Man United and Liverpool, beat Leeds, then beat me. I was quite surprised you got sacked there, to really. But there we go. Finished on -7 points.
That's bad. I think that's the worst.
Valiant effort.
I think that's the worst. I think it's the first I've been sacked, isn't it?
Yeah, it is one of the
On a
first times
rebuild,
you've been
yeah.
sacked, yeah. But there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you have any other recommendations down in the comments. This has been quite a fun one, despite us obviously having a bit of a laugh. It has been a lot of fun. Remember, the Pentagon Challenge, if you haven't checked that out yet, here is episode 1 on the screen right now for you. I've had a blast of it. Make sure you go check out that series. And of course, check out Manscaped at the top of the description too. We'll see you next week for another Versus Rebuild. Bye-bye.